Hi, Tamal. Welcome to the Business Standard Banking Show. Let's start with something very interesting that you've written about before, also in your column, as well as this week, is about P2P lending and how RBI has been very cautious about it. Now, of late, or there have been more developments. Can you take us through some of these and what are these issues that RBI is now a bit cautious about?
Yeah, as you rightly said, Ruchika, I flagged it off sometime last year. I think it was in July 2023. And I've written again because meanwhile, Reserve Bank of India has come up with certain clarifications and asking the P2P guys not to do certain things. And that's a private communication between the regulator and the P2P platforms. Uh, but what I feel is this probably RBI has not addressed the root cause. I'm not getting into all the technicalities. The problem is P2P platforms are just an intermediary. You want to lend money and I want to take your money. So a P2P platform comes in and tells Ruchika, you give your money and Tamal is a borrower. Of course, there are restrictions how much I can borrow and how much you can lend, but that's a separate story. And the P2P platform job is to play the role of an intermediary and earn fees from you, from me. That's all. They're not supposed to run their balance sheets. But what in reality is happening, P2P platforms are behaving and acting like deposit-taking NBFCs. Now, that's not done.
The other thing that RBI has been concerned about is the SRO for fintechs, and there were draft guidelines also that were issued. Can you take us through a little bit about how this SRO will work?
It's a very tricky task because fintech is all pervading. CII has its own wing for fintech, NASSCOM is there, and then there are, of course, multiple associations within this segment. Because we have to see this is a conglomerate of regulated and unregulated entities. Okay, it's a huge task. You have on the one hand the banks and NBFCs, different kind of NBFCs, which are in the business of lending money, and they are also into fintech. Then you have pure play fintechs like payment aggregators, like loan apps, even UPI, or say Google, Amazon. Everything is there. So it's a very vast world. Now, how do you what kind of role the SRO play? In fact, if you look at the Reserve Bank of India's draft guidelines, which you are mentioning, that it's actually it wants the SRO to play like an extended arm of the central bank itself, because it has to ensure best practices, it has to ensure the security and safety part, then data collection, dispute resolution. It's a combination of everything. And as I said, it's a very tricky part. It has to be, there are multiple entities and the various levels, there are various layers, and some of them are regulated, some of them are non-regulated. So it's a very responsible work. Like IBA is for banking, MFIN and Sadhan, they are for the MFIs. But here it has to be like something omnipresent, omnipotent kind of entity everywhere. So I think it's a RBI wants someone which will be acting on behalf of the regulator in the industry, to ensure everything. If you talk, you'll see that the customer protection is the key thing, and at the same time, it has to also encourage innovation overseas.
The other thing that happened, again, we're talking about RBI, the numbers released show that as of December 29th, the aggregate deposits in the banking system has crossed 200 trillion. What does it mean for the banking sector? How do you look at this number?
Well, I mean, I think the past 7 years, Business Standard only reported, if I'm not mistaken, is the deposit actually doubled. Okay, so it's a good story. I mean, obviously, but that doesn't mean that the banks have plenty of money and the deposit war for deposit will too soon. Because what happens is, you see that over the even now, and it's a past 2-year trend, is this: the deposit growth is lagging behind credit growth. Now, in percentage term, you said this is a 200 crore, 200 trillion deposits, and as we speak is about close to 160 trillion credit of the banking system. Now, year on year, deposit growth is 13% plus, but credit growth is almost 20%. Now, again, if you see the year so far, deposit growth is 11% plus, credit growth is 16.5% plus. Now, credit has a lower base, but even in absolute term, you will find that probably credit growth is higher than deposit growth, and banks are supporting it through their capital, reserve, etc., etc. So the fight for deposit will continue, because what is happening, saving community the saving community is looking at, the savers are looking at different kind of investment. You have seen that how the SIPs have been growing, mutual fund asset under management has been growing, and there are direct exposure to equities as well. When the equity market is doing so well, so obviously why would they settle for a very small amount which the banks pay? And also at the same time, you see that another interesting factor is the combination, the composition of deposits have been changing. Savings deposit and the CASA has been going down for the banking industry. FDs are going up because people are, if they have liquidity, they are trying to shift to fixed deposits. So I think the banks, the war on deposits will continue, and banks need to think of newer instrument. Like for loans, they have always external benchmark related rates, which will go up and down. But for deposits, you don't have anything. I think they have tried the floating rate deposit in the industry in the past, but it never worked. But I think it's a time to relook at introducing or revitalizing or renewing the floating rate deposit in a smarter way.
All right. Lots of suggestions there for the RBI, Tamal, that it has to address the root cause when it comes to P2P lending. And obviously, it is a very complex area when we talk about the SRO. And you said that industry participation is important. And war on deposits will continue, as you have indicated. So lots to watch out for. Thank you so much again for sharing your insights today with us.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
I am the blue of the limitless sky. I am the inspiration that lets success soar high. I will achieve, I will fly high. I am the I in SBI.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.